With a yo-ho-ho, it's Tale of the Toaster. Thank you once again for 2,000 subscribers and welcome to the Q&A. I know it was a long time coming, but you know, the update video, I could just record that walking around the camp, but actually taking the time to sit down and record some responses, that takes a lot longer. You needed some privacy, which I definitely didn't have with so many roommates at the camp, but now I am available to record my responses, and in fact, I've borrowed a very, very nice recording space to do so. Much as this nice mic stand and muffler and camera and amiibo collection and all of that, I wish I could claim it's my own, but it's not. Currently, I am in Illinois, America, visiting another YouTuber, Thomas J. Ashwell. He's putting me up for a week. He's also got a vlog channel, Thomas J. Vlogs, so that's what I'm borrowing his equipment for. He's at work at the moment, so I'm nicking his room to record me Q&A. But don't worry, he's fine with it. But because I am staying at his house for a week, purely out of his generosity, that also means I should mention I will be appearing on the next week of his vlog. So have a look at the description, Thomas J. Vlogs. I'm going to be in his vlog, mostly documenting my own time in his house, because he's just at work and I'm just mucking about in his house having fun. But I also touch upon my own American adventure, so have a check on there. So for now, obviously this is my 2,000 subscriber Q&A special, and I'm going to split it into two because I have gotten a lot of questions. Let's check how many, in fact. Well, I don't have a specific number because I broke it up into categories, but like approaching 50, possibly even beyond that. So it's a lot to try and cover in one video, and about roughly half of the questions were Inazuma 11 themed and half of them were not. So for this video, I'm going to answer the Inazuma 11 questions, and in the next one I will answer the general ones. So first of all, we've got question number 1 from AdePlays135, and he wants to know, do I prefer Mark or Aryan? And that's definitely tricky because they're so similar, you know? They both serve the same purpose. I do definitely get behind the way Aryan can, I guess, rise through the ranks, but I suppose Mark's voice in the games is a lot more bearable. Just to, I'm not going to go into any big plot details for the Inazuma 11 Go games, or even the end of Inazuma 3 in this Q&A, because I know some people on the channel haven't got that far yet, but I would say it's very close, but I suppose purely based on his voice, I'm going to narrowly edge towards Mark. So question 2 is from Alex Hewitt, and he wants to know if I want to prefer Willy or Isaac Glass. What's my first name again? I find myself forgetting. Oh yeah, right, my name's Isaac. So I'm naturally gonna prefer Isaac Glass for that reason only. So Dark Sonic 786 wants to know who my favourite Inazuma 11 character, and also who the best character in the Inazuma series is. So my favourite, that's Jordan Greenway. I didn't see him coming at all when he turned up on the team in Inazuma 3. I was stunned, I couldn't believe it, and then he just turned out to be a nice guy. I completely got behind him. Even when he got kicked off the team for the very first time, I was bawling my eyes out. I wanted him back, and he never came back. But I still completely get behind Jordan Greenway, and he is my favourite. My second favourite would probably be someone from the Go games. We'll touch upon that later, I'm sure. As for who I think is the best, I think it's got to be the captain of the final boss of Inazuma 11-3. He's just very, very good at what he does. So from Naruhan, he wants to know 2 questions. One of them's also shared. So for now, he just wants to know who my favourite character from Inazuma 11 Go is, purely based on appearance, because I haven't watched it. I'm gonna go for the one who looks like Hakuryu stroke Bylong, because for the longest time I thought it was actually him, and as it turns out it wasn't, and I was disappointed. But at the same time, I've not watched Go Galaxy yet, so I guess it's gonna have to be him. Now he also wants to know what shooting and goalkeeping special moves I like the most. And similarly, Raze351 wants to know my favourite and least favourite move. So, best goalkeeping move, utter gutsiness catch. It's gotta be. You've seen that thumbnail. And I also really like Wormhole from Epsilon. So those are probably my two favourite goalkeeping moves. And then my favourite move, sticking with the theme of arse, going on from utter gutsiness catch, I would also say Acrobat Bomber. That thing, it's too funny. It's just too funny. I really like Atomic Flare from Torch as well. Least favourite move? That's, I'm going to say that I was very disappointed with Paladin Strike, because that is the other signature shooting move of, you know, Knights of Queen, Queen's Knights, and Excalibur is such a unique move, and then Edgar Partners is like, I have another special move. It is where I kick the ball and it goes forwards. That's disappointing, to say the least. So, Nivy Girl asks, what are some secrets you know about Inazuma 11? And of course, I want to kind of show these off in context throughout the LP, so I'm not really going to give too much away. Any secrets I know will be shared, but I suppose, just as a little tease for later, I can show you how to get, like, RC shoot in this game, and that's a pretty unknown thing, so look forward to that. GD Blitzstorm wants to know what my favourite Inazuma 11 3 team is, and realistically the answer to that would probably be Inazuma Japan, just because the game centres around them and they've got so much stuff of interest. But I also... there's so many characters on Fire Dragon that you can get behind, and they have a great match in both the game and the anime. Qatar I really appreciate for being such an out there random country, which you can actually not feel as threatened by. I really appreciate that fact. But, yeah, so I'm probably going to be sticking to the Asias for my answer there. Obviously, everyone can get behind Italy as well, but, you know, they're built up to be liked. So, Ibrahim2K15 has both an Inazuma question and a non-Inazuma question, but the first one's a very convenient opportunity to plug my past projects. Thanks for that one, mate. What are all the games you've completed on the channel? And that would be Mario Tennis Power Tour, my first Let's Play childhood game. Loved doing that. Not a very watchable LP now, because I mostly spent the matches talking about current events, including buying my Wii U for the first time. There was Mario Kart Super Circuit, Subspace Emissary, and Smash Bros. Brawl. I did that on very hard difficulty at the time, and I've since beaten it on intense. Should I go back? Probably not. Pokemon Channel, my still best Let's Play. It's 11 episodes long. Forget Inazuma. Watch Pokemon Channel. That was great. Best thing I've ever made. And then, definitely the most relevant to beating the games, Paper Mario Blind was my first time beating Paper Mario altogether. Then we moved into Inazuma 11 finally. Went away from Inazuma for a bit to do Sonic Lost World, very underrated game. I had to show that off. Then finally Inazuma 11 2 Firestorm. We're working on 3. And I also did a bunch of mini LPs. A lot of those cases, though, they weren't really beatable games. They were just so short on content that you couldn't. But there was Robot Wars Metal Mayhem, Robot Wars Advanced Destruction, Flashlight. You can't beat a Flashlight application. Ninja Breadman Versus with Stelio 7. That was definitely a beatable game. Duck Hunt, Thomas and Friends Steaming Around Sodor, Learning Land at the Fun Fair, and Postman Pat DS. He also wants to know what the most helpful player I've ever had on an Inazuma 11 team is, and undeniably I have to go for the boring answer, it is Axel, because he's just got so much TP, such good moves, he even gets a long shot in Inazuma 11 3. He's just undeniably amazing. So both Danfield32 and Nintendo Tiger Football Fradga want to know what my favourite game in the Inazuma 11 series is. And I very much touched upon that in my Diamond Dust video not too long ago. It was always between 2 and 3. They're extremely close. 2 has kind of more nostalgic value to it because played that at college and loved it, whereas when I first played Inazuma 11 3, it was getting a little bit overshadowed by Pokemon Y. But I think I'm ready to say that Inazuma 11 3 is my favourite. And Go Chrono Stones is also a very worthy contender. I love that. But the recruitment system, the extra competition routes, etc., that's what holds it back. It could have maybe been my favourite if it had good recruitment. But Inazuma 11 3, that's the one. Silver Cloud wanted to know the same thing, and also what my favourite team member is in Inazuma. And that has got to be Jordan Greenway. Because I just didn't expect him to join the team at all. I can't remember if I already answered that question or if that was my practice answer. Hacks wants to know what my least favourite Inazuma 11 game is, and it's easily Go 1. I still like it, it's still an Inazuma 11 game, but it took itself far too seriously, and it started the steep decline in the recruitment system. Recruitment system in Go is bad. Also wants to know what my favourite Pokemon game is, and that would be Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky, if I'm allowed to pick spin-offs. I'm not going to call it underrated, because the people who like it really like it. It just had bad review scores, that's all. But yeah, I love Explorers of Sky. And then my favourite main game, I would say probably Emerald. Definitely carried by nostalgia. But I would say in second is probably X and Y. Because even though it's got a bad story, the Pokédex is the most expansive it's ever been. And it managed to overshadow Inazuma 11 3 Bomb Blast when I was playing both of those two games together, so that says a lot. Gamer Jordan, who narrowly missed the questioning period, but I let him in anyway. He wants to know what Inazuma 11 special move I would do in real life, and I've definitely tried to do that before, including Otakotsuna's catch. But, yeah, so the one I usually try to do is Eternal Blizzard, just because you can kind of jump and then land, put your hand on the floor, then rise up, then you pretend to spin and boot it. If I could actually do that in the air, that would be amazing. It doesn't have a practical purpose for doing that, but it would just look cool. So Mr. Dugtrio, one of my very most active Twitter followers, wants to know what position I would play as an Inazuma 11 character, and I would say defender, or at least a defensive midfielder. I think we need a little bit more focus on the defense in Inazuma, and when I play soccer in real life, I definitely go in defense, because I want to be able to not do much in a game, but I want my contributions to count, so that's what I feel defense does. And so what would my special move be? I mean, I guess it depends on the rest of the cast. I want to be varied enough. But I always said when I designed myself as a Smash Brothers character as a child, I'd always have moves involving a hairdryer or poison breath. Because that's how I saw myself at the time. So Alejandro Bennett has 3 whole questions. Number 1 is, how do I feel about the shipping fandom? And of course I'll keep this brief for the sakes of the younger viewers in the audience, but I would actually say I don't really follow it per se, but I do think there is one matchup. He specifically said, how about the Yaoi side? So yes, I think Jordan and Xavier should be a couple. I mean, I guess maybe they can't because they were both at the same orphanage. I guess they technically share the same father, kind of. That might ruin it, but they just look to me like it could work together, and they clearly are best buds. They even work together in the Go games. They might as well just be married and then adopt the other kid related to them in Go. Can I cover Galaxy on the channel? No. And do I use localized names? Surely you can tell from my Let's Play, right? But I mean, which do I prefer as well? I absolutely use dub names whenever they're available. Even if an anime dub is bad, I still watch that over the subs. Cough, Danganronpa, cough, cough. I still watch that in the dub just because that is what I do. I watch everything in the dub. Hate me for it if you want, but I think the Inazuma dub in particular is quite underrated. So Cheesecake1 wants to know my favourite memory of Inazuma 11, and I would say when I got my American copy of Inazuma 11 1 that I actually bought in New York, the Fallen Zeus aftergame match is ridiculously hard, but I managed to do it just by scoring into an open goal, and I held them off for the rest of the match. That was very tough and very lucky, but I actually managed to do it, and beating that was a huge achievement. What are my thoughts on Aitor? He should be the adopted son of the gay couple Jordan and Xavier. And what was my childhood toy? Anything Robot Wars. Thunderbirds as well. I had loads of Thunderbirds toys. That's only just getting to America now. But you guys, if you're American, you might know it as an animated series. For us, it was puppets. And that was great because you could buy the toys and they were puppets. Or small spaceships. But I most of all played with Robot Wars toys because they were miniature robots and they could fight each other and it was great. What do I think of Steve in Go? I think he's always been a very modest character, and I like that they gave him a really modest role to do in the Go games. I'm glad he's still around, doing something of a purpose. It's good. What am I going to Let's Play when Inazuma 11 3 ends? I can't really answer that because it depends how long Inazuma 11 3 is going to take me. I want to be able to cover Go at some point in the next year. But I do have some ideas for some non-Inazuma games if I want to cover them. But we'll just have to see how uni goes. That's going to be tricky. Yeah, so let's move straight into that, shall we? Will I be doing Inazuma 11 Go? And I kind of already answered it. But yes, even though it is the worst Inazuma 11 game, I will absolutely be covering it. Because it's still a good game. It's still Inazuma 11. I want to show off the whole series that was localized into English on my channel. Absolutely, it's what my channel's known for. I am basically an Inazuma tuber now, a word that kind of exists. Yeah, of course I'll be covering it. But will I be doing Light or Shadow? You should know in advance that I will be covering Light, because that is definitely my preference. The Light exclusive character who wrote, well, the guy behind the Light exclusive team is a great character. I love Bylong so much. Yeah, I tried to avoid saying it earlier, but yeah, he's kind of my favourite character from the Go games. So if you guys plan on playing along, perhaps you should go with Shadow so that you're experiencing the stuff I don't cover on my Let's Play. But yeah, Light is easily my preference. Yeah, and the one to close this off is that everybody here on screen really wants to know whether I will be covering, well, both Inazuma 11 Strikers was mentioned. That's something I still need to properly play. I do own the game, but I'm in the wrong country for playing that at the moment. I still need to give that a proper go before I can consider it as content. But does it seem Let's Playable? Probably not, because it's all quite repetitive. I prefer to just get on Dragon Blaze's streams and commentate over specific matches. But am I going to cover other games? And of course, my channel has a history of games other than Inazuma 11, such as Sonic Lost World and Pokemon Channel, watch that one! But I definitely have two games in mind that I want to cover on my channel at some point. One is not related to Inazuma 11 at all, and one is linked to the Inazuma series, but isn't part of it. But maybe we should touch upon that another day, eh? But that should just about be it for the Inazuma 11 side of the Q&A. So tune in next time for the regular Q&A questions. Ta-ta for now.